little late today, and I forgot to send Dee the link to the show. So hello, everybody. So great to see you. And as we promised last week, we're going to be doing slow cooker recipes. And I know that a lot of you have much different weather than we do, but it's kind of cold in California. Sort of cold. How are you, Miss Lee?
I'm okay. It's trying to warm up here a little bit, warm up enough to make our steps and roads and sidewalks nice and slippery.
Oh, wow. So did you, you've already started having snow, right?
We sure have. Yeah, we've had a few great big, lovely deposits of the white stuff for sure we have. Causes a little bit of, you know, those first big snowstorms cause a lot of havoc driving and what to wear, what not to wear, you know, all those kinds of
yeah, when it rains really hard in California, everybody gets discombobulated. So, you know.
Yep.
I guess it's probably the same way. So hello to everybody out there. We welcome you to today's show. I see we have our fabulous friend Sandy on. Hello. And Joelle. Joelle says, so did we in Rochester, New York. You guys got some snow there, huh? Cool. We got June here. Hi, June. Hi, June. So, Dee has been cooking away, and I'm going to pop this right up here. But as you know, it is, if you want the recipes from today's show, all you have to do is type in the word newsletter, and those will head your way on Monday. We send them out every week in our newsletter. You can also go on to deesrecipes.com and hit the recipe blog, and they're all there for the last, can you believe it? It's been a year and a half, Dee. A year and a half. It's shocking. I know.
Time flies.
I know. So Dee and I are in the wrong places on the screen today, but oh well.
All good. All good.
Okay, so Dee, it looks like you had quite a pot of stew. Tell us a little bit about what you've been creating this last weekend.
So this week I did crockpot recipes, and just so that you all know, if you didn't want to make them in a crockpot, they will all work on your stove top, in a Dutch oven or soup pot or similar cooking utensils as well. So they could all be thrown together if you're home and have the time, or they can all be thrown together and put in your crock pot so that it's ready when you come home. Mm-hmm.
Well, I love, you know, it makes it so easy. And, you know, when we have those nice warm smells in the kitchen, it's so nice to come home and not have to think about things, and to also have something warm. I love, you know me, I love some curry. And so you definitely hit a good note with me here. So tell us about this curry.
So this one, so easy. And this one actually cooks up really, really fast. And so if you wanted a hands-off meal and still need it to be done fast, this can be done in a couple hours on high heat in your crock pot, or you can cook it for, 4 or more on low. But the chicken and the cauliflower come together really, really quick. You actually, I cut the chicken into great big cubes or great big chunks. And a lot of traditional chicken curry recipes call for the use of chicken pieces such as thighs, but I do not use those in my phase 1 recipes. I just stick strictly to the all-white chicken breast instead. And then, of course, that cooks a lot quicker because there is no bone surrounding your actual meat. So Really fast and easy. Of course, your curry and your turmeric, place of green peas in a traditional recipe. There is green pepper, a little bit of red pepper, cilantro, fresh ginger. It is awesome in curry recipes. Take the time to dice up some fresh ginger nice and fine. It's a game changer. Ginger, you can buy fresh ginger all year round. We are going to talk about ginger throughout the holiday season, homemade ginger ale, homemade ginger candy, ginger in stir fries and crackslaws and stews, and it's just such a wonderful fragrance as well. And of course, our curry and our turmeric. And this one in my house, for example, though, I really loved it. And but 2 members of my family did tell me that you don't have to make that one again. So,
Oh, wow.
Because I am not the curry expert, everybody, if you make this recipe, I definitely want your feedback on ways to tell me how I could improve this recipe. In place of the coconut milk, I used regular milk. There is 4, so I made 4 servings of a complete meal in the crock pot. And so I used 4 ounces of milk because I'm dividing the recipe into 4. I did use some bloom gelatin to thicken it and some pure coconut extract for that little bit of coconut flavor. So we'll give you all the recipes. And if you like curry, I would love for you to make it and then give me some feedback on if it passes or if it needs some work.
Okay. So, like, I don't understand. Like, I absolutely, like, Indian food is like a top one for me. So so was it like a little too spicy for them?
I think it's honestly just the spice. So they are really, really used to traditional cuisine, traditional cuisine to our heritage. And so when I make new recipes in this house, I often get pushback. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in one more recipe. But I do have one of my boys that still lives at home. He's a really good eater. Like, he will try anything. And so I really kind of trust his opinion too. So he thinks this one needs a little bit of work.
Okay. Well, if you absolutely love like savory, spicy stuff, give us the thumbs up, or even you could like put a red pepper emoji in there, because I totally, I dig spicy stuff, but I also have a Hispanic background there. So, my grandma was always, there was always some beans and rice and salsa and stuff on the stove in our house. This looked very interesting to me. So, let's talk about this one.
Okay, so I actually had a request last week to do a hot and sour soup. Now, the really interesting thing about hot and sour soup is, you know what? I have made it before, only once before. And so what I did was I did a lot of recipe homework. And the really interesting thing about hot and sour soup is it's actually really easily adaptable to a weight loss phase of any program. You're just going to substitute out some oil. However, I added bamboo shoots to my shiitake mushrooms because I really like them and I really like that texture. And the male components in my house picked out the bamboo. They were like, what is this? So the rest of the soup got a pass. They liked the flavor. They liked the hot and sour soup. They liked the mushrooms, but they didn't like the bamboo. So I had a tough crowd this week on my recipes, but I really appreciate the feedback. So Carol wanted a hot and sour soup. So this one is for Carol, and so I want her to try it. She gets it from her favorite takeout places. So we're going to have to see if we've done a good job. The really interesting thing about hot and sour soup is that your personal taste is really going to control the heat and the sour. And of course, sour comes from vinegar. And I actually found that in a lot of the traditional recipes as written, they're too sour. I liked a little more heat for my personal taste. But the perfect thing is you make your soup, you test your broth, and you add, you know, a little more of whatever your preference is. That's the beautiful thing about one pot dishes and soups and such. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I really love stuff like that. So yeah. Okay. So does anybody let's see. I've got a couple questions here. For thickening anything, I use konjac powder. Is that okay? That's from Deb.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's just fiber.
Okay.
Yeah.
So konjac, where do you find konjac powder?
Deb, where do you buy yours? Probably Low Carb USA or Low Carb Canada, maybe even Amazon. I know we order our konjac noodles from Low Carb Canada, so but they are on Amazon and Low Carb USA as well.
Oh, awesome. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So this looks delicious.
Yes. So this one got the big thumbs up from my 18-year-old. So this is the Asian crockpot Crackslaw. This one is so easy, everybody. I chose to use sirloin beef opposed to a ground pork or a ground beef. It gets so nice and tender in the bottom of that crock pot. And what the cool thing is that you're going to quickly pre-brown, put that in the bottom of your crock pot, and then you layer a little bit of spice and your veggies or your cabbage, your peppers right on top. You put the lid on and you just leave it. And then just before you're ready to serve, then you toss it all together. It is the easiest thing ever, but the meat becomes just, it's mouth-watering. It just breaks right apart. And again, you can make this as simple or as intricate as you would like with your vegetables. It doesn't need a lot of fancy anything. So you think about your traditional, when you make a quick crackslaw in your skillet, you're just doing the same thing in a crock pot. In go the ingredients, layer, and forget about it. So super fast, super yummy, Renee. It's super yummy and nice and sturdy too. So this one was actually the first recipe that I made a couple of times, and it tasted just as good on day 3 as it did on day 1. So you can, you know, there's nothing wrong with making ahead and portioning them out. And this one, you can freeze all of these as well, right? So if you make a crock pot full of food and you make 4, you know, meals and you only want to eat 1, put 3 in the freezer. You know, you can very quickly get a lot of meal plan and prep done when you're using your crock pot or your Instapot or your stock pot. You really can. Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. Why do they call it Crackslaw?
Because it's so addictive. It's just so addictive. It's such a simple, you know, it's such a simple concept. And, you know, like cabbage is, you know, poor man's cuisine, like your poor European man's cuisine. Like, I mean, you ate cabbage and onions every day, you were poor, but cabbage is one of the most underrated vegetables that are on our, you know, if you work in clinics like we do, it's economical. It lasts a long time. You can chop up a huge cabbage and it stays good in your fridge for weeks. And it's, you know, it's almost one of those frugal ingredients. You can saute it and bake it and make steaks out of it. And, you know, you can roll meat and cauli rice up in them and they're delicious. And you can make lazy man cabbage roll soup and so on and so forth. So it's just a fantastic ingredients. And of course, if you're a sauerkraut fan, those gut healthy fermented cabbage is so good for you, like so good for your intestines. So, you know, if you're a slow to love cabbage, I would tell you to, you know, buy a lovely little Savoy one. Buy a little tiny red purple cabbage and add a little bit raw to your salads for some taste and texture, and you know, slowly introduce them. They're really delightful to the palate. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love cabbage, but I typically eat it in a salad, so it's raw. I have one of my clients did introduce me to Crackslaw a couple of years ago, and I thought it was delicious. I just was wondering, why is it called Crackslaw? So okay, it's just so tasty. All right. Well, there's a lot of people that absolutely love chili. And, you know, obviously when we're on phase one, we're not eating legumes and starchy beans. This is a beanless chili.
Mm-hmm.
And like on these recipes, how long does it take? If you put them on low, is this an all day project or just a couple hours?
So I don't ever put, so this beanless chili does have extra lean ground beef, and I do not ever put raw ground beef in the bottom of my crock pot. I always pre-brown it. Always. It's to make sure that it's cooked through even before I start, but the texture also. I find that the texture is much nicer if you pre-brown before adding the rest of the ingredients. So you do have that one step in a recipe like this. It does not take long. And then even in a slow cooker, you know, you could eat this in an hour after you threw it all together if you had that slow cooker on high, or you can leave that slow cooker go on high for 4 to 6 hours or on low all day. And it's going to just, honestly, these are the types of recipes that get better with time. So it's going to be better on day 2. And honestly too, because we're cold now, so I do have 2 fridges. I have one, of course, in my kitchen, and I also have a full-size fridge in my garage. But I also use my barbecue outside as my 3rd fridge. And so I will take the inside of the crock pot with the lid and then just set the whole thing outside in the barbecue and close the lid where it's cold. And then in the morning, bring it back in and put it back in the crock pot to reheat it. And these recipes are even more amazing on day 2. Just a little tip there. I'm sure somebody else out there does that too. I'm positive one of you does that too.
Actually, I have done that with like making broth, where I don't want to just let the broth, maybe the broth cooked all day, but I still wanted it to go like a whole 24 hours, but I was afraid to like leave it on the stove all night long. I've taken it and put it outside when it's super cold outside. Super cold here is, you know, like in the 40s, but that's still pretty cold. Definitely I have done that. Those are our recipes for today. And remember that if you would like these recipes, all you have to do is type into the comments section, and this is being shared out to a whole bunch of groups. So make sure you click on the original video and share underneath the video and just type in newsletter. Yeah. So it can be 1 word or 2 words. Sandy says she loves beanless chili. All right. Yeah. And you know, this is a great one for game day. Just having, putting it in the freezer, having it in small containers where you can just bring it out and heat it up in a small pan and quickly enjoy. And that's the one thing I do like about the slow cooker is the ability to make a lot of something and then portion it out and have small portions during the week. And I don't mind eating the same thing all the time. So that's just me though.
Well, the last one too, like the beanless chili, it also makes a really large serving size. So that's another thing. So, I mean, you could eat a full 8 ounces and get 2 cups of veggies per serving. It's a huge serving. So it's also a great recipe to break down, say, into 8. And so you could have 4 ounces of this chili for lunch and have a full cup of vegetable and 4 ounces of protein and still have, lots of protein and veggies left for supper or snacks throughout your day. So it's really nice that way too. Also, recipes, like any of these recipes, think about putting them, if you have a tough time getting veggies in, lettuce cups, lettuce boats, things like that as well. You can scoop them up in your romaine chips, or wrap them up in your lettuce wraps, your low carb chips or your IP chips, especially when you're just talking about game day. If you are in maintenance, once again, a low carb chip, or you could put a fancy dollop of cheese or sour cream or cream cheese on the top of that to richen it up. So lots of really easy, fast, simple meals. Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah, so these are great hearty meals. We are next week, Dee is going to be doing some holiday baking, which of course is her favorite thing to do, and something that she's super awesome at. So as far as we've got about 8 minutes left, Dee. So tell us, I've been out of my clinic. I went to a CBD workshop and conference over the weekend. My mind has been completely out of the coaching space. Tell us what your top coaching questions are this week.
Top coaching questions.
So like they all come in like 3s or 4s, and it's also a full moon, so it's got to be crazy in the coaching office this week.
Well, this week I'm going to pick on my beautiful clients. There was a lot of no journaling. And not that there was no journaling. That's not fair of me to say. But the books didn't make it in because, they were forgotten, or I left it on the counter, or, those kind of things. And so now more than ever, coming into this holiday season, that it does not matter. We are super proud if we are just working on maintaining, not gaining, versus weight loss, but you still have to be mindful. I've had some beautiful clients that have had some heavy things in their hearts this week. And so they really need, some self-care. So, we're not focused on, how many pounds you can lose, before Christmas to wear an outfit for one day to look nice for somebody. We're really concerned on how nutrition plays that role in self-care and in your thoughts and how it makes you feel. Because if we're already in a tough place and we put pour fuel into our bodies, it can really exacerbate those negative feelings and emotions as well. So that's actually been the last couple of days a really big point of conversation in our clinic. And as most of you know, for all the joyous things that come with the holidays, the stress starts, or the anxiety starts, or it can be a trigger for, family get-togethers or traditions or what's going on. They can be triggers for people as well, and it starts. And so that was kind of an interesting thing today too, was that for all of you that love Christmas and all the festivities that start, I actually have some clients that they really don't like it at all. There's unhappy things attached. So, fair enough. We have to enjoy what we enjoy, but respect the boundaries, of those around us. And so really, I don't know, Renee, how you feel about this, but every single one of my clients that I see every week, if we just, it's the middle of November, in 7 weeks, 8 weeks, we're done. Like Christmas is done. But I will, be oh so proud of everybody, whether they struggle, whether they maintain, whether they stay the course, and keep losing. just keep coming, keep journaling. We're gonna harp on that. I'm gonna let you speak for a couple of minutes about that too. But I was reading actually about how there's a lot of folks out there that just they don't believe in it. They think it's a waste of their time. And it's a really, really important thing to talk about because that sets your mindset up for actual failure from go. So I know that, what's your experience with that, Renee?
Well, okay, so I might be that person. If it was up to me,
Yep.
I would skip from November 20th to January 1st, go on vacation somewhere and goodbye. I think it's for me, it's a very pressure-filled, stressful time. And not only do I feel that from my clients, but I feel that from the atmosphere, the way people start reacting, the way people are driving, the way they're crazy in the stores, the way they're just buying up stuff like crazy that is mindless. So I do have, I'm not, a bah humbug, but about maybe 15 years ago, I said to all of my close friends and distant relatives, look, I'm going to only purchase a gift for my children, for my significant other, for my mom and dad, done. And please don't buy me anything because I'm not buying you anything. During the year, we're going to go to lunch. We're going to have some, celebratory cocktails together. If I see something that really looks like you, I'm going to pick it up for you. We're going to spend time and make experiences together because to me, that's what creates relationships and not me, going down and Gap has 40% off hats that you don't need and I'm going to buy you one. I just, it feels ingenuine to me. So, I have a little bit of that in me. So I encourage all of you to maybe write down your priorities for the holiday season as we go into the holiday season. I hope you put yourself up at the top of the list because when we are putting ourselves up at the top, then we can better be present for our children, our spouses, our career, our bosses, all the crazy things that are going to happen at work, all the things we're invited to that maybe we don't even want to attend. But we might have a little better, feeling about them when we're giving ourselves some self-care. We're taking the time to read something good for ourselves. We're maintaining at least our weight and not, sometimes it's not about losing during the holidays, but just kind of maintaining status quo. We know that we're eating things that makes our brain feel good. We're not exhausted all the time because of all the sugar stuff. We still had a little treat maybe now and then. We had some balance. So if we can get through the holidays and feel like we came out balanced, I think that's a huge, huge win. So those are my thoughts on the holiday season coming up. So if any of you have thoughts, please put them in the comment section. Next week, we will be here with a whole baking show. I don't know, do you have little reindeers in your kitchen today or what's going on?
Can you hear
that? I forgot the entire show.
I know, everybody can hear it. Yeah, I know.
Okay, what's going on?
Well, actually, I'm super lucky tonight because my husband just finished barbecuing steak out in the cold, but they were unwrapping some yummy garlic bread. They couldn't wait for us to be done.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, well, we'll let the two eyes get to their garlic bread.
Sorry, guys.
All right, you guys, no worries. We will see you next week for holiday baking. All right, remember, type the word newsletter and you will get the recipes on Monday. All right, see you soon, everybody.
Bye.